Hello everybody and welcome to round 9 of the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here at the popular Adelaide Street Circuit in Australia for the Adelaide Prix, where there is a slim chance that the team's title could get decided this week. I'm JW97 and I'm joined today by Dennis Graff.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon everybody. Yeah, it's good to be here.
It is indeed. We've got dry conditions here down under, and hopefully it should be quite a good race here indeed. Obviously, last time out at the Uberna Ficticio circuit, which was 2 weeks ago, it was a dominant Audi 1-2 in the end, which saw Santino Andreoli take his second victory of the season ahead of Robert Ionescu, with the pair of them pulling away a little bit in the championship. And as a result, there is a slim chance, of course, that Audi could clinch the team's title this week. But they will need quite a lot of luck, though. Let me just put it to you that way. Because, well, the first thing they need to do is they need to get pole position. That's the first thing they've got to do. Then afterwards, it's basically what happens in the race, really. If they don't get pole position in this, then they will not have a chance to win the title in the race. So that's pretty much that. So basically, they need to score basically the maximum points here at Adelaide and hope their nearest rivals, Mercedes, only score 2 points. If that happens, then Audi would have retained their team's title from last season. If that doesn't happen, then it will continue on into Fuji. And, well, like I said, they've got basically 2 parts in which to try and do this. They first of all need to ensure that either Andreoli and Ionescu get pole position for this race. And given that Ionescu has been a bit of a qualifying master this season, Dennis, I wouldn't write it off Audi trying to get a pole here today.
No, not really. They have shown with Ionescu that in qualifying they have good pace and a lot of tracks. But as I said, there are still a lot of other contenders who will go for pole. So we need to see how qualifying goes for all of these drivers.
Indeed so, and we'll have to wait and see, of course. One thing is worth noting as well is if I'm correct in saying, I don't think Andreoli has even got a pole position this season, the current championship leader. So really, he's just been having some great race pace throughout the season, has Andreoli, so much so that he's obviously leading this championship. And as we know, he does have a bit of a slim chance of trying to get one of the top class seats next season, that being AlphaTauri, but only if Miklos Gal starts to slip up a little bit. And I think the general consensus is, Dennis, from what we've heard from previous commentary sessions, especially over in Japan, is that the general consensus is that people believe that Miklos has probably got that seat secure.
Yeah, that's... I would say Miklos is still the favorite for that AlphaTauri seat. But yeah, we still have 6 races to go, or even 7. I'm not sure. But yeah, still, this fight can swing either way, to be honest.
Indeed, and well, it really depends on what happens for the remainder of this season. Now, of course, last time out at Uberna Ficticio, you may remember there was some issues going on when it came to the spare car ban, and Yuri did originally say he was going to send all 22 cars out at a time. Well, he's had a little bit of a... He's going to give the 13 cars at a time another try, really, to see if he can still... to see if it was just a one-off, really, that happened at Uberna Ficticio. If any case of a spare car ban does occur again during this, and Yuri is unable to basically get it activated with 13 cars going out at the time, then he will revert to 22 cars at a time, but make sure there is a way to ensure that the pit lane glitch that happened when we had all cars out at the same time in previous seasons doesn't really happen again, thanks to the tools that he's got to his disposal. So, anyway, we'll concentrate on the laps, really, because, well, there was a lot of admin to get through there. So, Andreoli now then, coming up towards the final corner now then, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight, and he'll be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. Andreoli, the championship leader, is going to cross the line and go into the 1 minute 26.561. Here comes Wojtek Kulizek now then, who got a podium last time out at the Uberna Prix, goes into second. Jackson now goes to the top by 0.05 of a second, goes quicker than Andreoli there. Mohamed Razan across the line goes into third. Nguyen Min Kwan now then comes down the pit straight in the DS Cheetah. Across the line he will go, and he goes into fifth. Prazan goes into fourth. As you now look at Kochi Cheong now then, in the Mahindra, who's now coming up towards the final corner, as he will now make his way onto the straight, and Cheong now then is going to cross the line. Let's see what the Mahindra driver can do, and he goes into fourth. Ionescu goes into third position. Not sure if he got a little bit held up on his lap or whether he just can't find the pace of Jackson at the moment. Ross Denholm across the line goes into 7th place. Dominic Tuccelli across the line, he will go in the Nissan, goes into 6th. Parachki across the line goes into 8th. Jacob Tobler in the Mahindra, he's now going to cross the line and goes into 11th position, just slots in front of Kwan there. And here comes Rafael Demel, the last of the drivers on track at the moment. Of course, there's still 9 more cars to do a lap. Demel across the line goes into 5th position, just over a second off of Brandon Jackson. They are the first ones done with the 13 cars. So far, it is Jackson who is currently at the top of the timing sheets by 500ths of a second ahead of championship leader Santino Andreoli, with Andreoli's teammate Ionescu just behind. So if it were to stay like this at the moment, Audi would not have a chance of winning the team's title this week, and it will continue on for at least another race into Fuji in 2 weeks' time, as Andreoli comes into the pit. On the topic of Jackson's team that he's currently driving for, which is Andretti. Of course, for any of you who is not aware, of course, the 2022 Formula E sign-ups recently opened last week, of course, last Monday, and at some point the World Champ Car sign-ups should be open this week as well, so be aware of that one. But, of course, the big thing that came out of that one, of course, is the fact that Andretti will be splitting away with BMW the end of the season. They will just be known as the Andretti Formula E team from next season, as a result of BMW focusing more on their partnership with McLaren next season in the top class. So basically putting more of their eggs onto the top class project with McLaren than what they are doing in Formula E, hence why they're going to be splitting away from this series at the end of the season. Andretti going all alone, really, which if you saw from how everything is worked out in the groups, of course, it might have an effect on Andretti's pace. But as we saw in Nissan this season, especially with Dominic Tuccelli, it don't necessarily mean it's going to be too disastrous for them. But you never know, of course, as obviously that's pretty much that. I don't know if you reacted at the time. I can't remember if you reacted at the time of that news, Dennis, or not, because I can't remember who was commentating alongside me at Belgium. If I'm being not Belgium, Japan, if I'm being totally honest.
It was me.
It was you. So you already reacted to that news about the Andretti BMW split, so I don't think we need to go through that one again, really, as one of the Neos is going out, that being Sana Choi in the Neo. And, of course, as mentioned, the Formula E sign-ups are open. It's important, of course, make sure you read the instructions in case one of your comments gets invalid, of course. Well, I say one of your comments. If your comment gets invalid, I don't know why I said one of your comments there, because you're not allowed multiple sign-ups. I don't know why on earth I said that. Clearly my punctuation getting a bit twisted there. So, anyway, as I'm talking a bit too quickly. So, anyway, as Choi now then out on track, I think there's a few more cars, as you can see, on the mini-map on the bottom right of your screen that are trying to make their way out onto the racetrack. As they're now, Choi now then makes her way down the hill towards the flat-out right-hander. As she'll be preparing to start her first flying lap, because she's obviously still yet to set a lap, as none of the drivers so far who've set a lap have gone back out on the track yet. The only drivers on track at the moment are drivers who have not set a time yet. As Choi now then makes her way down towards the hairpin. We have seen a few overtakes here in the past, and there are quite a few overtaking opportunities around this Adelaide circuit, so obviously one to keep an eye on. Parachki and Kwan have both gone out onto the racetrack. Might as well talk about Ennis Parachki a little bit, Dennis, because throughout this season, for like the last few races, he's kind of struggled a little bit, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I need to check his results from the last few races. But yeah, he didn't score any points the last few races, which is a shame for him. He had all kinds of things that did not go his way, but for him, we hope that here it will go better for him.
Yeah, indeed. And no, this is not the 1990s Adelaide. This is the modern day Adelaide, as it's a shorter variant because they don't use the longer variant of Adelaide anymore. Mainly because one of the corners around the Adelaide, the full Grand Prix circuit has actually been removed now in real life, and specifically the corner where Mika Hakkinen had his near fatal crash in 1995. That corner has now been removed in real life. It's now just basically a longer junction, really, because obviously these are on public roads. So I think ever since the early 2000s, when V8 supercars came here, they've been using this version of the Adelaide street circuit, which is a shorter variant, but still quite a popular variant either way, mainly because of this corner right here, which is quite a scary corner, it's fair to say. No overtaking allowed into that corner And obviously, if you carry the run through today, you're going to have a great chance to overtake down to the hairpin that Chui's just come out of. 1.1 seconds off of Jackson in the middle sector. As Chui now then coming around the left-hander, just missing the curb on the exit there. She now makes her way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And let's see what Sana Chui is able to do in the Neo as she now makes her way into the final corner and onto the pit straight now. Then she will go. And now coming onto the pit straight, and Sana Chui is now going to cross the line, and she goes into 14th position, just slots behind Nguyen Min Kwan there. Here is Kwan's teammate, Owen Carpenter now then. The Irishman now then, making his way onto the pit straight, has got one of the Nissans behind. Carpenter goes into 15th, and it is Ticelli, and I would not be surprised if his lap gets compromised there, as he's only just started. Here is Alex Broster now then, in the Envision Virgin Racing car, coming towards the straight now then, and Broster across the line, he will go. As he now goes into 14th. Tilsley goes into 3rd as here comes Leighton Aveyard in the Porsche. Across the line, he will go. And he goes into 18th position. Marvo Koenig now then making his way onto the straight. And Koenig across the line, he will go. And he slots into 10th position. And if Parachki now then, currently finding himself in 11th so far, not up on his personal best. Parachki crosses the line, but finds time in the last sector and goes into 6th position. Kwan across the line goes into 5th. As now we look at Jaswant Kumar in the second of the 2 Neos that are out on the racetrack. Kumar coming out the final turn and onto the pit straight now, then he will go. And Kumar across the line, he will go. And he slots into 19th. He just gets in front of Leighton Aveyard there. Ko Chung Cheong now then across the line, he will go in the Venturi and goes into 21st as Kulizek improves, but only into 11th. I wonder if there was more time to find if it weren't for that hold up. Maybe gained a little bit of slipstream there from Ko Chung Cheon there. Here comes Michael Macho in the Mercedes as he now makes his way out of the final turn, and Macho comes to the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he goes into 7th position there. Here comes Dominic Dicelli across the line. He will go now then. And Dicelli does not improve. He stays where he is for the meantime. And I think these runs done with, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is correct. So Jackson's still at the top of the moment with Tilsley getting up into 3rd position. A good effort for him. A bit of common case, really, that we've seen with Jaguar this season, Dennis. They seem to do well in qualifying, but in the races, it doesn't really pan out for them.
No, not really. As we've seen lots of time in qualifying, I think the car is specialized for qualifying. And then in the race, they usually drop back, which is a shame for them. I think they really should have to balance those things. But also, what I want to say, it's a good effort at the moment from Nguyen Min Kwan in P5.
Yes, the Cheetah driver doing a very good job at the moment up in P5. He has been quite a strong qualifier, it's fair to say, throughout this season. It's just the races have not really panned out the way he was anticipating throughout this season, as Kwan now then gets reversed back into the garage there, as Kwan will be getting ready to start his next flying lap, as the mechanics just getting underneath the car there, as we wait for the next runs to happen, of course, and see which 13 cars are going out onto the circuit, as Rafael Demel now then is going out onto the track in the Nissan, currently in 9th position. And it's safe to say that in the last race, he definitely had the better pace compared to Dicelli, who obviously had a great first half of the season, although it seems that Dicelli may have faded a little bit in the second half of the season, and we're looking to see if he can pick that up in the final 4 races of the season, because we're now into the Asia/Oceania leg of the Formula E calendar. Of course, this race we're at Adelaide. In 2 weeks, we go to Fuji. And then in 2 weeks, we go to Dubai Autodrome. And then I think it's either a week or 2 weeks after that. It depends, really, because I know that on one of the weekends, World Champ Car and Formula E are on the same weekend. And that's for both of their finales. I'm trying to figure out which one's back-to-back and which one's got a 2-week gap. I'll probably double-check on that next time round. But, yeah, obviously the finale will be at the outer layout of Sakir, like it was last season. So, anyway, Rafael Demel now then coming up towards the right-hander. The right-hander he goes now then before he makes his way towards the hairpin, as he will be preparing to start his next flying lap very, very soon now then. A few cars on track now. Brandon Jackson's gone out, as is Andrioli in the Audi. Dumel and Kochi Cheon are out on track as well, as is Denholm, and so is Tobler. So a few cars out. Demel will be hoping he gets no traffic by the time he makes his way back onto the pit straight now. Then as Demel makes his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight, he will now go. Demel down the pit straight, and he's now going to start his next flying lap. Now then, just looking to the right-hand side, there's no traffic there at all, so Demel should get quite a clean lap in as he now makes his way into the first few turns on the racetrack. Now then, through into turn 3 he goes. So Demel now then approaching turn at number 4 now then on the racetrack as he flicks the car in for the right and now into the left-hander. He will soon go through these section of 90-degree corners, and let's see what his first sector is like compared to his personal best. 3 tenths down on his personal best in that first sector and 6 tenths down on Jackson. This stage now then as Demel makes his way into the newer bit of Adelaide, it's fair to say, not the older bit, because if it was the old bit you would continue going straight on towards that left-right chicane there. Demel now then making his way down the hill before approaching this flat-out right-hander, as he will now go flat through the right-hander, trying to get as close to the wall as possible on the inside. And let's see what his second sector is going to look like. And he's continuing to lose time as he's now 1.2 seconds off of Jackson and 6 tenths off his personal best in that middle sector. Demel now then coming around the left-hander as he will now make his way towards the final few turns on the racetrack. Through the third to last corner he goes now then into the second to last corner, which is flat out, but you've got to get quickly on the brakes and get the car straightened up for this final corner, because to take a leaf out of the Southpaw Racer, it's your last chance to gain time on the lap. Here comes Demel across the line, and he will go, and he does not improve. He stays where he is. Koenig about to start the lap as his teammate is up on his personal best, so he's looking to improve on his current pole time at the moment. Jackson now coming into the final corner in the BMW i Andretti. Of course, 4 races left with BMW as their partner before they just go on their own Andretti. Jackson across the line, and he just misses out on improving by
close.
200ths of a second. Not quite able to improve on his personal best. Dan Holm across the line goes into 13th. Aji Prazan, the pole sitter from Uberna Ficticio, goes up into 6th position. Kochi Cheong now then in the Mahindra does not improve and he stays in 11th position. Jacob Tobler, his teammate, crosses the line. He doesn't improve either and he stays in 16th position. Mohamed Razin in the Porsche coming towards the final turn, currently in 7th position so far in the Porsche. It's safe to say he's had a better season compared to Leighton Aviar, because although Leighton had a very good start to the season, he's kind of drifted away since then. Razan does not improve and he stays in 7th position. Santino Andrioli does not improve and stays in 2nd. Ionescu, no improvement, and he stays in 4th position at this stage. Here is Sana Choi now then, who's up on her personal best in the Neo, as she now makes her way into the final corner and onto the pit straight she will go. Choi currently in 18th position. Across the line she will go in the Neo and she goes into 16th position, gets herself in front of Jacob Tobler there as Demel comes into the pits. I think there is somebody on a lap. Yes, Koenig is on a lap and he's up on his personal best in the middle sector. Koenig at the moment only down in 15th position. It's not been the best of seasons for Marvo Koenig, it's fair to say. A lot of bad luck has come his way this season. Same goes for Brandon Jackson as well. It's been a case of what if for BMW this season, it's fair to say. Koenig now then coming out of that final turn now then, the German making his way onto the pit straight, and Marvo Koenig, can he improve on his personal best? And he can. He goes up into 4th. That's a big improvement there for the German. Slots in front of Robert Ionescu. Broster across the line goes into 16th position. Slots in front of Sana Choi again. As Aviod is on an improvement. He's currently on the back row of the grid. Let's see what the Porsche driver is able to do as the Englishman makes his way towards the final turn on the racetrack now. Then into the hairpin he goes. He will now make his way onto the pit straight now then, as Leighton Aviard is now going to cross the line now then, and he goes into 19th position, gets himself in front. Owen Carpenter there, and they are those runs done with, but it is still Jackson at the top, but a big improvement from Koenig there, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed, an improvement that he needed, of course. Before that, he was stuck in P15, but now in P4, it's much better.
Indeed, as I think his mic decided to have a little bit of a cut there just as he was about to finish his sentence. So, anyway, hello.
I accidentally unplugged my mic, my headphone.
Guess you were moving a bit too much in your room there, Dennis. Hello, Raphael, Ennis, and Santino have just joined us in the stream chat as Owen Carpenter now comes out onto the racetrack with 11.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session as Carpenter just makes his way through into the first 3 turns now that on the track. Carpenter now then making his way towards turn at number 4 on the racetrack now then, as he now makes his way towards turns 5 and 6 now then, these 90-degree section of corners. And coming towards the corner where that infamous incident between Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill happened, it's that corner there that Carpenter just came out of, as they now make their way towards where the V8 supercars now come down towards, as this is the 2011 version of Adelaide for anybody who is curious. Not just Carpenter, but also Coach Chung Cheong has come back out on the track looking to get out of last position if he can, as Carpenter now then flat out through the right-hander he will go before making his way towards the hairpin now then. Carpenter making his way into the hairpin as he prepared to start his lap. Now, I might as well mention in this stream chat, because I think I mentioned it as well, also on Discord, but the Formula 2 sign-ups officially closed today, and I think they're going to close at midnight, if I'm not mistaken. So you've got until midnight to sign up for Formula 2, because if you haven't signed up before then, you will not be able to have a chance to try and get into the Formula 2 grid for 2022, as it officially closes tonight. So anyway, as Carpenter now then just comes out of the hairpin now then, and will now make his way down the pit straight as Carpenter is about to start. Well, he's just started his lap, and luckily there's no traffic there to interfere with his next flying lap as the Irishman flies through into the first 3 turns on the racetrack with just under 10 minutes to go in this session now then. Carpenter now then coming up towards turn at number 4 now then as he flicks the car in through the right-hander, and now into turn number 5 he will go. And now approaching the corner where Schumacher and Hill had their infamous incident, as he's 500s up on his personal best in the first sector, but still half a second off of Jackson in that first sector at this stage, as he now makes his way out of to turn 7 there, as he now makes his way down the hill before coming towards the flat-out right-hander now then, as hello Michael Macho, who's just joined us in the stream chat. Carpenter now then just coming towards the flat-out right-hander he will go as he flicks the car in before now approaching the end of the second sector. And let's see if he's still up on his personal best. He is. Gained a bit more time in that middle sector. 3 tenths up on his personal best. 7 tenths down on Jackson. Carpenter at the moment currently finding himself in 20th position. He should, as long as he keeps it up in this last sector, be able to improve. But we will see as Carpenter now then just comes towards the final 3 turns on the racetrack now then. Coming towards the final 2 corners now then will come Owen Carpenter in the DS Cheetah now then, as he now makes his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will come Owen Carpenter in the DS Cheetah, as he will now make his way across the line, and he goes into 13th. A big improvement there, gets out of 20th position. Here is Coach Chung Cheong, who is also on an improvement at the moment, up on his personal best in the middle sector. Can he get out of last place? Let's see, as Coach Chung now then comes out of the final turn and onto the pit straight he goes, and Coach Chung Cheong comes across the line. Can he improve? And he can, but doesn't improve on position and stays in last position. Just want Kumar now then, only 700s down on his personal best middle sector, so we could still recover that in the last sector. We will see. He's got one of the Virgin Racing cars currently right behind him at the moment, as Kumar now then comes towards the final few turns now then, as he just misses the curb on the outside like many people have done throughout the season and through into this session as well. So now in towards the final 2 turns will come Jaswant Kumar in the Neo now then, into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then we will go, as Kumar now then is now going to cross the line. And can he improve? No, he can't. He stays where he is. Kulizek improves, but only up into 14th position. Macho crosses the line and stays in 9th position, not able to improve for the moment. As Nguyen Kwan is not up on his personal best at the moment. Can he find some time in the left sector? Kwan crosses the line, and no, he can't. He stays in 6th position. Kochi Cheong now then. Across the line, he will go in the Mahindra, and he doesn't improve either. Tilsley, no improvement. Decelli, no improvement either. Parachki's also not improving it, as Parachki across the line he goes, and he stays in 10th position. So far, the Mercedes is only on row 5, but so far, if it stays like this, they can take comfort in the fact that so far Audi will not be able to win the team's title today, because of course Audi need to get pole position in this session if they want a slim chance of winning it in the race. As De Mal meanwhile goes up into 6th position, a big improvement there. And as mentioned with Audi, neither of Andrielli or Ionescu are currently on pole. So if it stays like this, then the team's title battle will continue into Fuji in 2 weeks' time. As now Tobler now then makes his way into the final corner. And now coming onto the pit straight now, then he will go as Jacob Tobler is now going to cross the line. and he does not improve. Adji Prazan, meanwhile, is up on his personal best in the Jaguar. Prazan only in 8th position, but he's still 3 tenths down on Jackson in the middle sector. Prazan now then down the pitch straight, and across the line will come the Indonesian driver, and he goes into 5th position, slots in front of Robert Ionescu there then. Is anybody else on a lap? I don't think they are. They are those runs done with. We've still got just over 6 minutes to go in this session, with Jackson at the top, Andreoli in second, Tilsley in third, with Koenig fourth, Prazan in fifth, Ionescu in sixth, with Demel seventh, Kwan eighth, Razan in ninth, Macho in 10th, with Parechki just outside the top 10 in 11th, with Kochi Cheong in 12th, Carpenter 13th, Kulazek 14th, Ticelli 15th, Denholm in 16th, with Broster 17th, Choi in 18th, then it is Tobel in 19th, Aviard in 20th, Kumar 21st, and Kochon Cheong in 22nd and last at this stage. The whole pack separated by 2.2 seconds as Kwan gets wheeled back into the garage there. So we now wait to see who is going to be next to come out onto the racetrack. See what the next runs are going to look like. I think we're going to get at least 2 more runs, judging for how much time there is left. Or maybe 1 more run, actually. I didn't take into account the out flying and in laps there. So maybe the final runs we're looking at next, but we'll see. It's Brandon Jackson not wasting any time to get back on the track, see if he can improve on his current pole time, which finds him just 54 thousandths of a second ahead of Santino Andreoli at this stage, as Jackson now then makes his way through into turn 3. As now they will approach turn 4, as he will approach turn 4 quite soon now then, as Denholm has also joined him on the racetrack, as you can see with the timing tower on the left hand side of your screen there. And now coming out of turn number 6 there, before making his way into turn 7. Is now coming down the hill towards the flat out right-hander Jackson will soon be going. And let's see what Jackson is able to do now then, as he will now make his way through the flat-out right-hander to prepare for his next lap. If all the systems all go in that BMW at this stage now then, as Sana Choi has come out to the track. Only 3 cars at the moment on track, so Jackson will be hoping there'll be no traffic by the time he gets back around. Make that 4 now, because Ionescu has just made his way onto the racetrack now then, and he'll be hoping there's no traffic by the time he starts what could be potentially his final flying lap, given how much time there is left in the session, as Jackson now then makes his way towards the final corner, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight now then, as Jackson is about to start his next flying lap and potentially final flying lap. No traffic for him, so he'll be looking to see if he can improve on that 1 minute 26.507 that he's currently sitting on, as Jackson now through into the first few turns on the racetrack now then. Jackson now then will approach turn number 4 on the racetrack now then, so flicking the car in through turn 4 before approaching turn 5. He will soon go now then, so flicking the car in through the left-hander. He will now his way out of the first sector, and he's 6 tenths off his personal best at the moment, so it doesn't look like that Jackson is going to find the time needed to improve on that 1 minute 26.507, as he's way off his personal best in that first sector there, as Jackson makes his way down the hill before approaching the flat out right-hander now then. So flicking the car in for the long swooping right-hander, he will go now then, as Jackson approaches the hairpin quite soon now then. As now coming towards the hairpin now then will go Brandon Jackson in the BMW i Andretti. Now making his way through the left-hander, and now coming towards the final few turns on the racetrack, as he's still down on his personal best, as you can hear the dog commentator in the background. Now coming up towards the final 2 turns. Coming towards the final corner now then we go. As let's see what Jackson is able to do. Jackson now then is now going to cross the line. I don't think he's going to improve, and no he doesn't, and that was his final flying lap, because look how much time we've got left on the clock. So he stays on 1 minute 26.507. Is that going to be enough for pole? We will see. As Denholm crosses the line, no improvement, he stays where he is, which is P16. Choi is not on an improvement, as she's currently down in 18th, and she's 1.5 seconds off of Jackson in that middle sector to add to that. And now coming towards the final 3 turns will come Sana Choi, the South Korean driver, now then making her way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. As she's having a little bit of a wobble through into the second last corner, and that leads to a big lock up into the final corner. So that lap has gone in the bin if it hadn't done already for Sana Choi. And now Chue now then is going to cross the line, and she does not improve. She stays in 18th as her teammate Jaswant Kumar is about to start his final flying lap quite soon. Ionescu is not on an improvement at the moment. He's not up on his personal best in that middle sector. Let's see if he can find anything in the last sector as the Romanian driver making his way onto the pit straight, and Ionescu across the line he will go, and he stays in 6th position, so no pole position for him today. Marvo Koenig, no improvement, he stays where he is. Mohamed Razan stays where he is, which is P9, as Coach Chun Cheong improvement and goes up into 18th, pushes Kumar down to last. His Carpenter goes up into 8th, a big improvement there, gets in front of his teammate Kwan. Here comes Santino Andreoli, last chance he's got for pole, and he doesn't. So Audi will not win the title this week. They'll have to wait another week to see if they can wrap up the title then. So in Mercedes' case, their team title chances are saved for now. Aviard improves to go up into 17th position now then, so still outside the top 10. There's still another tricky qualifying session for him, given that his teammate is currently in 10th position. Alex Broster now then coming down the pit straight now then, and Broster is going to cross the line, and he goes into 18th position. As now we look at Jake Tilsley, who's not up on his personal best, currently in 3rd position at the moment as things stand, as Tilsley comes down the pit straight now then, and Tilsley across the line he will go, and he stays in 3rd position. Kumar is up on his personal best, meanwhile, in the Neo with 20 seconds left on the clock, as now the Indian driver making his way into the final corner will now make his way onto the pit straight now then, and Jaswant Kumar comes across the line now then in the Neo, and he loses time in the last sector and doesn't improve. And that is that then. So it is Brandon Jackson who has taken pole position for the Adelaide Prix here in Australia. And just to remind you, this is what it looks like. So it's Brandon Jackson on pole with Santino Andreoli in 2nd, Jake Tilsley in 3rd with Marva Koenig in 4th. Aji Prazan will start in 5th with Robert Ionescu 6th. Rafael Demel is in 7th with Owen Carpenter in 8th. His teammate Nguyen Kwan is in 9th with Mohamed Razan in 10th. Then Michael Macho is in 11th, and you can do the rest, Dennis.
Okay, so P12 we have Inspirachi, P13 Kok Ji Cheong, good qualifying for him to be honest. In P14 we have Wojtek Kulacek, Dominic Chili disappointing P15, Ross Denholm P16, Leighton Eviard P17, Alex Prost also disappointing in P18, Kok Chun Cheong is in P19, Sana Choi is P20. In P21 we have Jakob Tobelan P22, and last we have Jaswant Kumar.
P21 for Jacob Tobler there, Dennis. But yes, that is the grid. You said P22 for Tobler there, not P21. So anyway.
Oops.
So anyway, we will wait for Yuri to set up the grid, because of course we have the mistake rate, of course, for qualifying, and then we will get underway. But for the meantime, I'm just going to get the tweet ready for Twitter, so apologies if I go for a little bit silent for the moment.
Yep, this is pole number 3 this season for Brent Jackson. Just a little fact here. Of course, he will get 3 bonus points.
I'm back. The tweet is now up, and so that's that then. So, of course, as Dennis alluded to there, it's Jackson's third pole of the season, and he has won twice this season, let's not forget, but we've talked about it a few times, Dennis. He really hasn't had reliability on his side this season. Same goes for his teammate Marvo Koenig.
Yeah, that is true indeed. I don't have you had that fact that Jackson retired for 4 straight races in the season, and let me just check how many retirements Koenig had so far. Also 3. Yeah, I think the unreliability award this time goes to BMW Andretti so far.
Jackson could win because, of course, I will point out as well with the start here at Adelaide, sometimes it can be very easy for the guy in second place to get the lead into the first corner. Not all the time, but in some cases it has been. It kind of depends on how they react to the lights, really. It's not like what we see in the top class, of course, at Spa, where it's almost guaranteed that the person starting in second gets the lead into the first corner. Although there has been the rare occasion, as Yuri has referred to, that people can keep the lead through into last source from pole position, but it hasn't been like that for a while, it's fair to say. But we'll wait and see how this race goes. Of course, we now know, of course, because neither of the Audis took pole position, it does mean that Audi will not win the team's title today. That will have to wait until Fuji in 2 weeks' time for that to happen, for the Hamamatsu E-Prix. And so that's that as we wait for the next, as we wait for the race to get underway. Of course, bear with us, guys. It will be in the same stream, this race, of course, as Yuri is obviously trying to get the grid sorted out. And obviously, it was an Audi 1-2 last time out at the Uberno E-Prix. Whether they can replicate that again here at Adelaide is another question. Of course, they've managed to, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've managed to, I think that was their first 1-2 of the season, if I'm not mistaken, for Audi. I could be wrong on that. Of course, Robert Ionescu, currently the nearest rival to Santino Andreoli in the championship, but he's got to really try and see if he can get a grip of Andreoli's points all, because of course Andreoli is able to pull away a little bit more at the Uberno E-Prix, and with Andreoli in second and Ionescu in sixth, it's not exactly ideal for the Romanian driver, who is of course in contention for a couple of top class seats, as you may remember in the pilot episode, that being Haas and Alfa Romeo. So he'll be hoping to see if he can try and have a good enough season to see if he can finally make his way back into the top class and basically, in his words, redeem his career, basically. So anyway, as we wait for the grid to eventually come up, of course, once Yuri is ready to go, of course, as we wait for the race to start, hopefully quite soon. So, of course, there's only been 2 double winners this season. In the 2021 season, that being, we mentioned Santino Andreoli and Brandon Jackson, as so far this season we've had a total of 6 different winners. Could we have a 7th winner today, or could we have another one potentially become a double winner this season, or could we have the first triple winner of the season? And given that the 2 drivers who have been double winners this season, that being Jackson and Andreoli, are on the front row, there's a very good chance that we could get a triple winner today, but we will wait and see on that. Of course, Jackson still has an outside shot of winning the championship, but we've mentioned a few times in qualifying just how much of a what if it has been for him this season, given the amount of reliability problems he has had. And had things just gone his way this season, maybe he could have been a bit more closer to Andreoli in the championship, and even Ionescu as well, to a certain extent as well. Ionescu does have quite a comfortable gap to Jackson in the championship, but it could have been a lot closer had Jackson had his didn't have his mechanical failures throughout this season, which has been a plague for the BMW Andretti team. And of course, BMW would like to go out on a high before they end their partnership with Andretti at the end of the season, before they focus on their partnership with McLaren. And I guess people want a little bit of an update on what's going on with my Mac at the moment. Well, I mentioned it in the stream chat. Another issue has crept up. It's nothing to do with that question mark this time. That all works fine. It's more to do with my charger. So, to give you an explanation, I don't know if this is the same for other laptops, but I've noticed this more prevalently with Macs. you've got a low battery percentage, it normally slows your computer down. And I've noticed that the chargers, that it's not really been charging properly because I've got the battery indicator on the top of my screen has got a cross in it. Now, I initially thought it was the charger that had packed up again, but I realised after buying a new one yesterday that wasn't the case. So that's pretty much that. So it's either an issue with the I'm trying to remember what the three letters were. It's either a problem with the functions with all of these on the Mac, or it could be an internal problem, aka the charger. Something may have burnt in the charger or something like that. So hopefully, I don't have to take it back to the repair shop again to get the charger fixed. But we'll wait and see on that one. Anyway, we've got the screen back up now. Enough about the history of my Mac. Because I'm having some bad luck, as you can tell, with computers. I'm probably the most unluckiest person in the world. But here is the grid then. The Adelaide Prix, and as you can see, it is Brandon Jackson who is on pole position with Santino Andreoli in second. We'll do it 4x4 like Rob does for the F2 commentary. Jake Tilsley will start in third with Marvo Koenig in fourth.
In P5 we have Adi Prazan. In P6 Robert Ionescu. Rafael Dumel starts from 7th, and in P8 we have Owen Carpenter.
Then in P9, we have Nguyen Minh Quan, followed by Mohamed Razin in 10th. And then it is the two Mercedeses all the way down in row 6, with Michael Macho in 11th and Enis Parachki in 12th.
Yep, in P13, we have Kok Ji Jeong. In P14, Wojtek Kulasek. Dominic Tizelli starts only P15, and Ross Stenholm starts from P16.
It is Leighton Aviard in 17th with Alex Broster in 18th. Ko Chung Cheong is in 19th with Sana Choi in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, Dennis,
we have Jakub Tobola in 21st and Jaswan Kuma in 22nd and last.
And as you can see, we've got a bit of changeable weather. We've got light rain expected, but as you can see, it does get quite lighter throughout the race, of course. Now, obviously, these races usually last around 60 minutes or so, if I'm not mistaken. So it could get dry. We'll have to wait and see. But it said, if I'm not mistaken, that it will start out dry, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it says it will start dry on the indicator on the left-hand side there. So we will see how that one prevails, really. Let's get on the way. Here we are then. As you can see, it is dry out there. So there is no wet patches on track, but I will not be surprised if there is any a little bit later on in the race. But as you can see, we've got Jackson on the left of your screens. We've got Andreoli on the right as we wait for the 5 lights to go out here at Adelaide. 2 lights are on, 3 lights are on, 4 lights are on, and now 5 lights are on. Long hold here indeed, and there we go. Finally, we are underway. Lights out and away we go for the Adelaide Prix. Who's going to get the launch into the first corner? It looks like the front two have got away pretty well. I think Andreoli may have got a better launch compared to Jackson going into the first few turns. Let's see as they now make their way down towards the first few turns. Now then, is Andreoli going to grab the lead off of Jackson into the first corner? The answer to that is yes, and it looks like Tilsley's trying to find a way through on Jackson as well. Although having said that, Jackson's still trying to hang with Andreoli now. Then through into the first few turns. Can Jackson try and retake the lead from Andreoli to come out of the first corner now then? Everybody keeping it clean at this stage. There's no major casualties at the moment, but Jackson does retake the lead. Tilsley trying to get onto the inside of Andreoli. Oh, that was so close to contact through into the first corner there, but luckily they kept avoiding each other there. Looks like it's not been the best of starts at Ionescu. He's dropped a place. DeMella's got the jump on him at the start as well, as everybody kept it clean into the first few turns. The answer to that is no, in fact, because Chui's got damage, and so has her teammate. So it seems rule 1 in racing, never hit your teammate unless they've both been involved in separate incidents. Let's see what happened to both Chui and Kumar then. But already a disaster for Neo, and it was teammates colliding. Rule 1 in racing, Dennis, never hit your teammates.
Yep, that's a disaster class for Neo, like in real life Formula E. But they both have to pit, and the driver who arrived second in the pit stop is completely done.
Indeed, as now Tilsley trying to find a way through on Santino Andreoli. Now in the fight for second place, going around this right-hander, not quite able to get the move done as Prazan and Koenig are fighting for 4th position now. Then as Koenig just keeping in front for the meantime, as they all now make their way down towards the hairpin. For the first time today, Prazan covering the inside, so bizarrely there, as Ward nearly contact there between Tilsley and Andreoli coming out the corner there, but luckily they managed to avoid each other as Koenig trying to have a go at Tilsley. Not going to work out there. Koenig currently finding himself in a Jaguar sandwich at this point. It looked like he had a bit of understeer there going through in left-hander. They look like he went a little bit too quickly through into there, but Jackson currently leading, and he's already starting to stretch his lead at the moment. As Andreoli and Tilsley look like they're going to start battling for second quite soon.
Yep, indeed. Tilsley looking very racy indeed. But then this allows Jackson to get a gap as he sets the first fastest lap of the race, of course. But yeah, looks like Tilsley's going for it.
Contact there, but luckily no harm done. Just a little tap from behind there. Tilsley making Andreoli away there that he's right behind and taking a bit of a wider line through into turn 3. Koenig, is he going to try and take full advantage of this contact now? He's going to try and look to the outside of Tilsley. Can he get him around the outside? And yes, he can. Koenig up into third place. 1-3 for the BMWs at the moment.
Yep, indeed. As now the two Neos are the pits, and I think that Joy is completely finished in this race because she has to wait there, and yeah, that's her is sadly done.
That's the unfortunate thing with double stacks on GP4, really. Unfortunately, one of them is going to get affected by it, and we believe it was Sana Choi that's been affected, and yet, because it says she's in 22nd, so she's the one affected by the double stack. It's Tilsley trying to get back running outside of Koenig now, then through into the right-hander. Can he get the move stick? It would be a brilliant move if he pulled it off, but he's not able to. He's going to try and look to the inside into the hairpin if he can, but he's not close enough, so hangs back. Meanwhile, Ionescu looking to the inside of Carpenter there. Not going to work out. Looks like the pair of them were able to mug Demel on the previous lap there, so Demel's been quite mugged there, it's fair to say, on the second lap, as Jackson's already pulled a full second lead on Andreoli's. We've now got dots on the track, as you can see. There are now dots that are starting to appear, so the track may be starting to get wet, so we might see some impromptu pit stops in this race, Dennis.
Yep, indeed. Maybe, but we have to see how hard this rain will fall in the next couple of minutes. But also one thing I have to say, look at Ross Denholm. He's in P8 for P16.
Good start from Ross Denholm, indeed. They're gaining literally place the start. He's got a yellow flag into the first corner. Who is it? Who is it? It's who's that's one of the Audis, I think. Not sure which one
what?
It tells you, but there's also an Audi involved. It's Andreoli. It's Santino Andreoli.
Oh,
the championship leader is out of the race, and it looks like there's a BMW involved as well. Is that that's Koenig is also
going on here?
Must have been a three-car collision between the three of them. Let's see what happened. Matt Koenig got was it Koenig that started the collision? Let's see. As we ride on board with Tilsley, it seems like he got a good view of that. And Koenig was right behind Andreoli. He thought about looking to the inside, but there was contact that was made there, and they spun around. It looks like Andreoli lost the back end, and unfortunately, Tilsley was a passenger in that one. And, well, it's not like it was a dangerous rejoin, as Andreoli had no control of the car there.
Yeah, it's at least something for him that he cannot be blamed for the dangerous rejoin, but for him it's a disaster.
Ionescu is now probably going to lick his lips on this one because he's now going to try and take full advantage of this. Same goes with Brandon Jackson, who's currently leading the race at the moment. Not sure if any penalty will be done with that or not, or whether it will be deemed a racing incident. But either way, Ionescu's got up into third after all of that has kicked off. And that's that, really. So Ionescu now onto the podium. There's been a crash.
There's another crash. Denholm.
Denholm and a Mercedes has got themselves involved as well. One of the Mercedes has had a crash. Not sure which Mercedes it is, but one of the Mercedes has also got themselves out of the race. And as you can see, it looks like Denholm was trying to find a way around the outside of Ionescu there. Probably. Oh no, it was contact with. If it's not a Mercedes, it's actually Denholm. It's Demel, sorry, in the Nissan who's got himself involved there. So that's what's happened there. It looked like a little bit of a clumsy mistake there from Denholm. It's fair to say, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. He was trying to go to take the wide line. That was quite a hard smash.
Right, fair enough.
Buggy corner. Great.
Assume that's what the first one's going to be branded as well. The one that happened with those 3 cars. So we've already got 5 cars. 4 cars. Cars out of the race.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll have to wait and see with that first one. Maybe deemed a racing incident with that first incident between Koenig, Andreoli, and Tilsley.
It's a funny coincidence, by the way, because next top class race is Korea.
Yes, it is indeed, and well, then again, I don't think anybody heard Yuri there say the word about Korea, but he mentioned that turn two is very similar. Turn two at Korea is similar to what we just saw there with Adelaide at turn three, but all of that has allowed Jackson to have a big lead as a result, Dennis.
Yeah, that's very, very good for Jackson indeed. I didn't saw what gap he has at the moment, but for him it's looking very good at the moment.
Indeed so, as we now come up towards the next few turns on the racetrack, as everybody's just trying to keep themselves as tidy as possible through into there now then, as lots of movement going on at this stage at the moment. Looks like the two Virgins are into combat. That's nearly 3 wide going through into there. How on earth they kept that one clean, I have no idea, but well done to those three indeed, especially the Virgins who managed to keep it clean there. And because of that crash that we saw earlier, Jackson has got an 8.6 second lead ahead of Prazan.
Yep, indeed. Also, Prazan is now, as he said, in second. He definitely profited from that three-way crash, a three-car crash. But yeah, that could be a huge race for Ionescu because he can close the gap massively.
Same with Jackson as well, as we saw Parachki there having a go, and the Gui Min Kwan there for the fight for fifth. You can see the track is starting to get a little bit more darker thanks to the dots sorry, that are continuing to appear on the racetrack now then, as they now make their way towards the final two turns. As now there's spray on the track, so we've now got spray, as you can see from the tyres there of Aji Prazan. So there is spray now on the track, so I would not be surprised if we're soon going to get some impromptu pit stops here, Dennis.
Yeah, that would be very exciting indeed. Who would be the first to make that impromptu stop? But it's, I think, a bit too early to call.
Yeah, indeed, as Ionescu's starting to lose a bit of track to Prazan, as Paratsky, all contact there. Keep it clean. No, he's gone for a spin. That's Kwan. Look,
another one.
Who's that? That's a Mahindra, I think, that's gone off. That's Kochi Cheong that's gone off as well. And you can see the spray is actually starting to spread towards the pit straight, as you can see there. And let's see what happened here. He's clipped the back of Macho, as you can see there. But Macho got away with it unscathed there, Dennis.
Yeah, luckily for him, it looked like everyone.
Penalties for turn one, as Yuri just said there. But you were saying there about Macho, Dennis?
Yeah, he's lucky that he didn't suffer any damage. I think the same couldn't be said about the Mahindra, if I'm not sure.
As the Mahindra of Kochi Cheong has just been able to rejoin there as a result. Took him a bit of a while. As Asana Choi, who of course had damage earlier on in the race, is down in 18th. As in fact, Kumar's actually gained a place despite also having damage on the first lap. Of course, the two Neos coming together on the first lap. Rule 1 in racing, you should never ever hit your teammate. As meanwhile, Mavo Koenig now then trying to have a go at, I believe that's Kochun Cheong in front of him now then, as Koenig of course was involved in that collision that happened between Andreoli and Tilsley earlier on. He's now trying to make his way back through the field as they all make their way down towards the hairpin. As looks like there's an overtake going on there, and that's one of the Venturis getting by on one of the Mahindras there, or trying to at least. That's Kochun Cheon trying to have a go at Tobler there. Not going to work out. Koenig not able to take advantage of the spray. Is now starting to spread towards the track now then, because the previous lap there was practically no spray at this point of the track, but now there is spray around this part of the track now then, as you can see, as they now make their way through into the final two turns on the racetrack, as there is Ionescu with a comfortable gap to Carpenter behind, a 3.2 second gap, as he's trying to stay out of trouble, as he's got a good chance to try and gain on Andreoli in the championship. Meanwhile, as you can see, we've got some side-by-side action going through into the first corner there. That's Aviard and Broster there getting quite close for comfort there. Luckily, no major contact between the pair of them. Tobler trying to look around the outside, but that's all that's done is gifted Coach on Cheong the position. It looks like Cheong is also going to try and get by Broster around the outside, but Broster saying no to that, and he holds on to P11 as a result. Koenig trying to find a way through on Tobler there, not going to work out, so he has to stick behind as the spray continues to intensify now around the Adelaide street circuit. So I wonder how long it will be before we get to the impromptu pit stop stages of the race now then. Prazan now then makes his way through into the hairpin now then, as he now makes his way towards the final few turns on the racetrack as the spray started around about here, didn't it? And yes, it is. There's the spray that's picking up from Prazan's car there. Jackson has got now a 7.2-second lead. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was around 8 seconds earlier on. As it already, in fact, as you could see, we were talking about the spray, Dennis. There is already a dry line starting to emerge down the pit straight. So maybe this could just be a small spell here.
Yeah, I think, as you can see, the rain already is disappearing in that part of the track. But yeah, there was also rain for later on the screen. But so we have to see how this goes.
Did get a little bit lower. You may remember the percentage on the weather forecast. And there you can see, look, it's getting more and more drier. So it was just a brief spell, it seems, Dennis. I don't think I've ever come across a race where this has happened, really, where we've got these crazy conditions going on. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that one plays out. As Koenig trying to have a look at Tobler into the first corner, not going to work out, as he's going to hold on to that position for the moment. And we were talking about it. It looks like Prazan is really starting to close in on Jackson, as it's now down to 6.2 seconds. So maybe on this phase of the race, Dennis, Jackson's starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. Maybe does struggle with these conditions a bit, but yeah, Prazan is closing a lot.
Indeed, as Aviard now then making his way through the right-hander now then, as he will be now coming down the hill. I wonder if a dry line will start to emerge around this part of the track. So far there is none, it's just spray at this point of the track, as now we come towards the flat-out right-hander, and this is a dry part of the track, because there's still dots on this part, and there is a dry line starting to form there. So, yep, it's already starting to disappear quite quickly at this phase of the race, as it's now down to 5.8 between the top two. So, Prazan is absolutely flying at this stage of the race, and looks like he's also dragging Ionescu with him, because he's not losing touch to Prazan. It's roughly around the same gap as it was before, around about on that 2.7-second mark. So, maybe Ionescu's got a chance of a victory here. Now, as the pair of them are now starting to catch Jackson at this stage. We saw Perechki there trying to have a go at Koenig, not going to work out there. As we ride on board with Prazan, who's now 5.4 seconds behind Jackson. Perechki trying to go for a risky move there on Koenig through into the second to last corner. That was never going to work there, and he's going to have to hang back as a result of that. He's now kind of in a slipstream train, it's fair to say, as Koenig is getting slipstream from Tobler in front of him at this stage of the race. Let's see what the gap is like between Ionescu and Prazan at this stage, or not, because the camera decides it doesn't want to look. As Coach Unchiong trying to have a look around the outside of Broster there, didn't quite work out, and Broster holds on to that 11th position, as as it looked like Koenig and Perechki both had the same idea, and all of that has allowed Kumar, who, let's not forget, had damage earlier on, to get back up into 15th position. So Kumar making a fantastic comeback at this stage of the race.
Yep, indeed. But also in this race so far, we had a lot of spins, so the few drivers lost a lot of time. But it's still a good comeback at the moment from Kumar.
Is indeed. His teammate has not got up to that point yet. Chue is still out on her own at the back of the field. Of course, had to double stack behind Kumar as the pair of them got damage on that one. As Perechki trying to see if he can find a way back through on Just Want Kumar there, but it's not going to work out as he takes the outside line through into that right-hander there. As Prazan's now only 4.2 seconds back as Koenig on the inside of Tobler, and he gets the move done. Up into 13th goes Marco Koenig in the BMW, and he needed to get that move done.
Yep, that was a good move at that point. Also clean. Then here's Broster on the edge of the points.
As it's getting more and more drier, that part of the track, as we can see that Broster trying to put Aviard under a bit of pressure. Aviard hasn't had points since the Sao Paulo Prix, and he's desperate to get some more today as he covers the inside from Broster there into the first turn. And looks like Broster's just going to hang back for the moment now then. Is he going to try and line him up for a move into turn 4? It has brought Cook Chung Ching a little bit close to this fight as well. Broster looking to the outside, not going to work out, so has to tuck back as a result. But as I mentioned, it's brought Cook Chung Ching close to that fight. 3 seconds is the gap. Ionescu is starting to drop back a little bit from Prazan, as he's only 4.2 seconds now behind Brandon Jackson, but he's got a big lead in front of Carpenter, up to 6.2 seconds now between 3rd and 4th at this stage of the race. As now coming around the hairpin now, then we will go. As Ionescu now then just coming around the final few turns on the racetrack now then. So now he's as he's now coming up towards the final 2 turns on the track. As we're trying to look at the fuel percentages, 18 laps for Prazan. There was about 22 points summit for Ionescu there, and not sure what Jackson said. But Kumar trying to attack Tobola now for 14th position, not able to get the move done, or is he? No, he's going to tuck back into the slipstream, see if he can get a run on him into the hairpin, like we saw with Koenig a little bit earlier on Tobola. Not going to work out, and Tobola now starting to drop back from Koenig as a direct result of that, as there's now a dry line starting to emerge through turns 1, 2, and 3 now then on the track as Broster tries to have a go again at Aveyard for the fight for the final points place. Not going to work out, and again Coach Chuncheon gets closer and closer as a direct result of that. Now then, as they now make their way onto the pit straight now then, is Broster going to try and get the move done on Leighton Aveyard this time? Again, Aveyard choosing to cover the inside, doing a great job to fend him off at the moment. Broster trying to go to the inside into the first corner, not going to work out, and Broster had to jam on the brakes there to avoid a collision, and it's brought Coach Chung Cheong close to the scrap as well. And Broster not able to get a run on Aveyard into turn 4 as a result. Movo Koenig now, you see, we've got to crash into the first corner again, and it's Kumar and Tobola as I think perhaps he's just about avoided. Gains the eyes, watch out for the wheels, watch out for the wheels. Oh, that was close.
He just avoided it.
Kochi Cheong there just about avoiding the wheels that were bouncing back across the track there. But 2 more retirements in the form of Tobola and, not Tobola, I think, or was it Tobola? It was Tobola and Kumar there. Tobola and Kumar there, and now we're down to, I think it's 16 runners we're down to, and I think it's going to be a similar collision here, Dennis.
Yeah, I think it really is. This turn 1 is really prone for crashes, and yeah, look at this. I don't know who to blame for that one, to be honest. But I think it's just the corner again.
I think for that, or Kumar was just a little bit too ambitious for that corner, but it is turn 1 as Yuri mentioned earlier on. So, well, you obviously didn't hear him, but I obviously reiterated what he said. But meanwhile, back to the battle for 10th. It's Broster again on the inside of Aveyard. Breaks that a little bit later, and he's finally got the move done. Broster up into 10th position.
Yep, that was a great move from Broster. Now he's made his way to the points after starting from, what was it, P17 or P18? He's making a good comeback so far. Let's see how far he will go to the front.
Now under 3 seconds now between the top 2 now. Then as Prazan continues to close in massively on Brandon Jackson in front. So maybe things are not going the way of Jackson at this stage of the race now. Then through into the right hand, there we go. There's still some wet patches around, but it is starting to get quite a bit drier, as you can see on the racetrack, as we're on lap 11 of 46 here at Adelaide. 3 seconds it's back to now then as Coach Chung Cheon again attacking, but he needs to be careful because here comes Marvo Koenig, and he goes through quite easily. Koenig up into 12th position as he's now trying to put pressure on Leighton Aveyard in front, who is now started to lose track. He's now starting to lose time to Alex Broster in front, as 2.7 seconds the gap between Brandon Jackson and Aji Prazan. Prazan could see him right in front there, but he's obviously not close enough to the slipstream yet of the BMW driver. Prazan now, they're trying everything he can to get a hold of Jackson in front of him now then, as they now make their way towards the final 2 turns on this racetrack now then. Prazan into the final corner going. Meanwhile, Koenig starting to put Aveyard under a lot of pressure now then, is now make the way around the right-hander now then. Is Koenig going to get the move done? He's trying to have a go, but it's not going to work out. Can he possibly try and get him on the inside into the hairpin? Koenig on the inside now, then he will go on Aveyard, not going to work out. Meanwhile, Ionescu now sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 30.656, I think that says. So currently Ionescu holding on to the bonus points for the fastest lap of the race now then, as he's currently 3.3 seconds behind on Prazan. So he's starting to close in again on Prazan, because it was around 3.9 a little bit earlier on, as Koenig again trying to put Aveyard under a lot of pressure now then, as they now make their way into the final corner now then on the racetrack, and now making their way onto the pit straight now then we will go. Can Koenig try and find a way through on Leighton Aveyard? Let's see, as he tries to get in the slipstream of the Porsche driver, looking to the inside. Can he get the move done? Keep it tidy, keep it tidy. Oh, they're keeping it clean at the moment, but Koenig not able to get the move done. But here comes Coach Chung Cheon to see if he can try and get the position back of Koenig. Not going to work out. Koenig holds on for the time being, as now here is Prazan, who's now just 1.5 seconds back from Brandon Jackson, and he's really trying to close in at this stage at the race.
6/10 the second sector.
Time there for Prazan. He is absolutely flying at this stage of the race. It's very clear who the quicker driver is between the pair of them. It is definitely Aji Prazan, at this stage, and he is desperate to try and get his first win in quite a while in this series. I think it's fair to say he's not had a victory this season, nor have Jaguar for that instance either. They've had pole positions, just not victories this season. We talked about, of course, in qualifying how Jaguar just hasn't had the consistency in the races, but it may be seeming like it could happen. Try not to jinx anyone. It's meanwhile Ionescu saying another fast lap, gets into the 1:30.4s there as Prachi trying to have a go. Contact there with Coach Untitled there. Luckily, nothing major there. Can he take full advantage of that as he tries to get on the traction, but he can't. Coach Untitled holds on as a direct result to that and holds on to P13 as a result. 3.1 now, the gap between Ionescu and Prazan, as Aviard now then trying to have a go at Koenig. Well, trying to hold on from Koenig, I should say. Let's see if Koenig can try and find a way through into turn one this time by now then. I make the way onto the pit straight now. Then Koenig in the slipstream of Aviard, and already Aviard choosing to defend the inside as Koenig now they're trying to have a go on the inside. Can he get the move done? Keep it tidy, and they can keep it tidy. They've been getting quite close to each other for quite a while, but again, Aviard doing a good job fending off as the track is getting even more drier. 1 second now, the gap between Prazan and Jackson, as you can see on the top, 0.7 now, as you can see. It's now under a second between the top two, and yeah, Prazan is really, really flying at this stage of the race, and we've got a battle for the lead on our hands here.
Yeah, we definitely have a battle for the lead on our hands here. Look how much Prazan closed the gap in the last couple of laps. Yeah, the gap was 8 seconds. Now it's, what was it, 2/10. But yeah, Prazan could launch an attack here in the turn one.
As Prazan actually sets the fastest lap as a result, he's trying to look to the inside, try and keep it tidy. You two into the first corner. Oh, very close to contact there. But luckily keeping it tidy, and all that will do is allow Ionescu to close up, because there he is in the background. You can just about see him there. So Ionescu looking to see if he can take any advantage of the two in front, and now he's back within the... He's now quite close to Prazan as a result, as Aviard has a big lockup going through into the fourth to last corner there, as he's trying everything to hold off from Koenig at this stage. But Ionescu now starting to close in on those two.
Yep. But I think Prazan will close the gap to Jackson in no time. But as I said, Ionescu is right into this battle now, so it's now a three-way fight for the lead.
Indeed so, as in fact he's right in the slipstream of Prazan, as you can see here now. Can he try and get the move done on Prazan? As you can see, he's trying to look to the inside through this long sweeping right hand. I don't think this is going to quite work out, and Ionescu has to back out as a result. I would have waited preferably for the hairpin to try and get a hold of Prazan, but clearly Ionescu trying to put Prazan under a bit of pressure, and Prazan needs to ensure that he can clear Ionescu, because otherwise he's just going to lose time to Jackson in front as they now make their way into the final few turns on the racetrack now then. As Ionescu tries to see if he can find a way through on Prazan at this stage of the race now then, as he's right onto the gearbox of the Jaguar driving now then, as they make their way into the final corner now then. So through the final turn and onto the pit straight now, then we will go. Can Ionescu find a way through on Prazan this time by now? Then as they come down the pit straight now, they're heading towards into the first corner. And Prazan already thinking about defending the inside there. And Ionescu not close enough to try and put an attack on him into the first corner. Maybe waiting for turn 4 if he can. Coming out of turn 3 now, then is Ionescu maybe close enough to try and find a way through on Prazan. And it doesn't look like it. It seems like Prazan just had better traction coming out of turn 3 there. And now he's trying to close up on Jackson. Looked like he had a better exit as a whole there compared to Ionescu. I think Ionescu, who was about to lock up there into turn number 5, as he's now starting to drop back a little bit. Is now Koenig trying to have a go at Aviard now. They're in the fight for 11th position as they now come around the final turn yet again now. Then coming on to the pit straight is... Oh no, Ionescu's got a problem! No!
Oh no! No league! Oh no!
But Robert Ionescu, and what a shame, and there is the fire coming out the back of the car, and an opportunity to go, and fire has gone down the toilet, as we got to get a flag into turn 1 as well at the same time. Who is that? That looks like Koenig again getting himself involved in a turn 1 collision, and it doesn't look like that Aviard was affected by it. Ticelli is also got a problem
as well.
Ticelli looks like he might have crashed into the wall there, coming into turn number 5. Let's see. There was the yellow flag for Koenig earlier on, and has he gone too quick into the corner? Yes, he has. He's carried too much speed, and that's his race over with. A bit of a driver error there for Dominic Ticelli as a direct result, but they're already starting to drop like flies here, Dennis, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's like retirement pandemonium going on here, but Ionescu, what a shame for him. He was fighting for the win, and now he parks his car, which just means Audi doesn't score any points here.
Yeah, indeed. So Mercedes may gain a little bit in the team's championship, but not a lot because only Macho is currently in the points in eighth position. So they'll still have quite a comfortable lead going into Fuji as the fire is still there for Ionescu's car as the marshals will want to try and get onto the scene as best as they can. But we mentioned that it was a three-way scrap for the lead. It's now back to a two-way scrap as a result of the fiery engine coming off the back of Ionescu. And Prazan is now already on the back of, I don't know why it says car 1 for Robert Ionescu there. I think Yumi may have made an error there with the numbering, but because it's meant to be car 52. But anyway, as you can see, Prazan has already caught up to the back of Jackson again.
Yep, indeed. So yeah, now the question is, where will Prazan be close enough to try to make a move here? So by the way, we only have 14 cars remaining in this race.
Yeah, indeed. And as somebody mentioned in the stream chat, I think it was Flo, this is definitely a race of attrition at this stage, like we saw in the real-life Singapore Grand Prix yesterday. A race filled with attrition here at the Adelaide Street Circuit. As we look at the field. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead is back on now between Jackson and Prazan now then as they make their way out of the hairpin and now making their way in towards the final few turns on the racetrack now then as there is Coach Chung Cheong who's now into the points but under pressure from Enis Parachki and I think that's Kochi Cheong behind. So Parachki currently in a Cheong sandwich at the moment. He's got one of the brothers in front and one of the brothers behind him as a bit of spray still at the right-hander there as you can see. But meanwhile, back to this battle for the lead now between Prazan and Jackson as they now make their way down the pit straight now then. And is Prazan close enough? Jackson already thinking about defending the inside.
It's coming.
And oh, be careful, guys. Be careful. Oh, careful. Luckily, they avoided the collision there as now they come around into turn number 3 now then. As Prazan looks to see if he can try and catch back up to Jackson. Now that he's not got anybody behind him trying to put pressure on him. And now coming around the right-hander we go now then. Before approaching the next left-hander we go is Prazan really trying to put Jackson under a bit of pressure in this fight for the lead of the race. Jackson versus Prazan as now they come around section of corners now then before coming around the right-hander. As let's see what's going to happen here down towards the hairpins. Prazan now tucked in behind Jackson. And now let's see if Prazan can get the move done on Jackson. He's looking to the inside. Look at the speed he's got going down the hill. Is Prazan going to get the move straight away? Down the inside goes the Indonesian driver.
There he goes.
They're going to keep side by side and he's got the move done. Prazan takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, that was a great move. You could see that he has a lot of high top speed advantage. And he even made the move before that kink. Which is very impressive.
They set up that car pretty well for the straights, and it's showing Prazan now in the lead of the Adelaide Prix. The question is, can Jackson keep up his chin? He's made a mistake. He's made the same error. He's made the same error as what we saw, I think, Dominic DiCelli do a couple of laps ago, and it looks like he's made the same mistake. Coming down the left-hander, and yep, may have caught the wet patch a little bit, but that's another retirement. We're down to 13, Dennis.
Yeah, for him, it's such a shame because he's still on 0 points. With a bit of luck, he could have scored points today, but yeah, he completely pinned it into the wall.
Indeed, we're down to 13 words. It's now put Parachki now into the point of the result, but he's got Kochi Cheong breathing down his neck as a result as they come out of turn 3 now. Meanwhile, Cheong now, they're looking to the inside. Can he get the points place off of Parachki now? They're down towards the hairpin. Can he get later on the brakes? He's trying to have a look, but Parachki just able to hold on and holds on to that 10th position at the moment in this race now then as they make their way through into the final few turns on the racetrack. The gap's still 0.7 seconds between Prazan and Jackson, but it's starting to look like the Prazan is starting to get away just a little bit from Jackson at this stage. We'll keep an eye on what the gap looks like when they go into the second sector as Jackson already starting to fall back, it seems, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. I think that's nothing more to say, to be honest. Yeah.
Indeed so, as it's getting more and more drier as a result, so a bit of a weird weather spell, it's fair to say, a little bit early on in racing. Yep, it's now over a second between the pair, then now up to 1.1 seconds. There's Carpenter currently on the podium as a direct result of Ionescu's mechanical failure, so he's now on the podium as a result, as it's now Parachi's now starting to get away from Kochi Cheong as a result, as he looks to try and see if he can gather some points for Mercedes and see if they can close a little bit onto Audi in the team's championship. As now Prazan just comes around the final turn now then, as he's now starting to get his foot down and pull away now from Brandon Jackson. Prazan absolutely flying at this stage as we start lap 19 of the race. Not quite at halfway yet, that's in a few laps time. We haven't got to the pit stop stages of the race just yet. And so they should come around about in the lap 30 mark, I would imagine, looking at the amount of fuel they're all carrying for this race. And so now Jackson around the right-hander as he continues to now lose time to Prazan. 1.4 seconds now, the gap between the top two. And with all this attrition that's going on, it seems to have now spread the pack out just a little bit. But there could be some battles a little bit later on in the race. 1.7 seconds now, the gap between the top two. As it's 1.7 actually between Razan and Kulizek, as they're currently 4th and 5th at this stage of the race. As Prazan making his way down the hill towards the right-hander now, then he will soon go. And going around the right-hander we go now then. As in fact, it's starting to rain again, I think, because I can see some spots on the camera. So here we go again. It is now starting to rain again. As you can see, will it start to wetten the track up again? That's going to be the interesting question for this, as it is starting to rain again, as you can see on your screens now then. Will it wetten up the track? As you can see, the driver's rear lights are now starting to appear on the car again. So it's going to be interesting to see if the track starts to wetten up again, Dennis.
Yeah, I think the track will be wetting up again. I'm quite sure about that, as Macho trying to make the move on Guimin Kwan.
Contact made there. Macho's gone for a spin, and through goes Broster there into 7th place, and that's a place lost there for Macho. Probably a little bit too ambitious there, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed, he definitely was going for it, and it didn't work out for him, and he lost a position instead of gaining one.
And now it's Broster's turn to attack Kwan for 6th position. Broster tried to have a go there into the right hand. It didn't quite work out as Broster tries to put Kwan under a bit of pressure as they now come down the straight now as the rain continues to fall on the screen again. And now you can see Kwan defending the inside yet again. As is Broster going to get the move done into the first corner? The answer to that is no, because Kwan has been able to defend it quite a lot. Bouncing the curve quite heavily there. Broster is through into the first corner, and Kwan able to pull away just a little bit as a result of that. As we now come around the section of corners now on the racetrack as the rain continues to fall on your screens. As a gap 2.9 seconds between Carpenter and Razan. Looks like Razan is now starting to get away a bit now. From Void to Kulizek. There is Kulizek there. You can just see in the background. Now through into the right-hander. We will go now then. As now they make their way down towards the hairpin now they're on the racetrack. As Troy's got
Troy has an electrical problem. Yeah, I just saw it on the graphic, but yeah, now we have it here. And that's how the race sadly continues.
Obviously, she got damage on lap 1 from the collision with Kumar, and now she has got an electrical problem, and she now has to come back into the pits. I'll be fascinated to know what tyres they put on as well, because of course they've all got obviously the graphics are all the same, but I'll be interested to see if they are the wetter tyres or she stays on the drier tyres. We'll have to wait and see on that as she now gets away, but as a result of that, she's now a lap down, Dennis.
Yep, for her it's really a race to forget, but maybe if she gets lucky and we have still a few retirements, and she could maybe, with a bit of luck, still score some points, or a point maybe, but that's unrealistically at the moment. But you never know what happens next.
Indeed so, as we look at Jackson now then, who is dropping back again from Prazan. 3.4 seconds now, the gap between the pair of them now then, as Choi obviously a lap down, looking to see if she can try and unlap herself. Of course, she's on fresher tyres, so you would imagine she'll be lapping a bit quicker than the drivers around there at the moment as she tries to unlap herself. As contact there between Aviyard and who was that he made contact with behind? That would have been Parachki, but luckily no harm done there. So very lucky there. For what am I saying? Very lucky there for the pair of them, Dennis.
Yep, lucky to get away with it, and they're still pointing in the right direction. So you have
is Choi trying to unlap
Choi
herself
who unlaps herself. Yep.
Could all help Aviard behind. Let's not forget, or is it Razan? I'm not sure. I think it's Razan. Sorry, that's actually Carpenter who's trying to unlap. In fact, not Kwan. That's Trey's trying to unlap. So that could help Razan as he tries to get onto that final podium place at this stage of the race.
Yep, I would say that's Asian help for another Asian driver. That, to be honest, against the Irishman in P3 at the moment. But yeah.
The final corner there, I think Razan's made a mistake. Razan's gone off the track. He's got down to fifth. So as he was
through.
And yeah, you can see it there. Look, he made the mistake going into the final corner, and as a result, Zach managed to get through there.
Yep. So that now Kulazek up to P4, and remember the last race? Was it last race where he got the podium?
Who was that?
I think it was. Kulazek's last podium, was it the last race?
Last race at the Beneficio. I want to point out, I think Razan may have got the weaving glitch, if I'm not mistaken. So, because it looks like he's going a little bit horribly there. Although I don't know how.
Here we go again.
Although I don't know how he would have got a weaving glitch, if I'm being totally honest, because I wouldn't have imagined that Choi would have been causing it.
Yep, there we go.
A pit symbol next to her name, so I can't understand that. But anyway, that's that. Hopefully, you can get it fixed a little bit later on in the race. But all of that is allowing Kwan and who was that behind Kwan? In fact, that's trying to put pressure on him. I think it's one of the Virgins. We've got a yellow flag. In fact, down into it's Kochi Cheong. He's gone for a spin at the right-hander. And let's see what happened here. There looks like there may have been contact with Prachki, it seems. Let's have a look. He looked to the inside and looked like he was a little bit ambitious there, Dennis.
Yeah, but look at the BMW Andretti going through. But yeah, that was very much too ambitious. But yeah, luckily without any damage. And still with a chance of points.
Indeed, as we look at Razan now, then he's just coming around the hairpin with that weaving glitch he's got at the moment. As now coming around the final few turns on the racetrack, he will go now. Then it's Kwan and I think it's Broster behind is trying to gain onto them as a result. And yeah, here they are, Kwan and Broster quite close behind the troublesome Porsche at the moment. As now we're at the halfway stage of the race now. They're on lap 23. Of the race now then, let's see. Razan, has he fixed himself? He's still gone a bit wide, but not as wide as what he did a little bit earlier on. And so let's see, can Kwan get through here on Razan? That's going to be the question. And I don't think he is. I think Razan's just going to hold on into the first corner. And has he fixed himself actually? Trying to look. It looks.
No, I don't think he did.
It still looks a little bit dodgy at the moment as around right hand. There we go. Is Kwan going to try and slip his way through? Broster will look to try and take full advantage if he can. Razan goes wide and
very wide.
Might fix the problem because he's gone wide, and I think it has. Yes, he's gone wide, so that should, in theory, fix the problem, and it has done. So as a result, it has allowed Kwan and Broster to gain a place, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed, but the best thing for Razin is that now the weaving glitch is over and he can fully attack. But the bad thing is he lost 2 or 3 places.
Yep, as Broster tries to find a way through on the Guimin Kwan now then. As they now make their way towards the hairpin now then. It's Brandon Jackson we are looking at now then. 10.5 litres left, laps left I should say. As he's continuing to drop the pace to Prazan. It's now down to 5.6 seconds now then. Now Jackson coming towards the right-hander now then of turn 4. As in fact, it looks like the rain has actually stopped now, Dennis. So look like once again just a brief spell, but you can see the rain light is still on all the cars at the moment. But yeah, it seems that the rain that we just saw earlier on is now just all of a sudden stopped again.
Yeah, it's like typical April weather in Germany.
Broster tries to have a go. Contact with him and Kwan. And luckily no harm done there. But it's allowed Razin to close back up. And I think it's going to allow Macho to catch up as well. I think that's Macho that's behind. Yeah, I think it's Macho because I think Prachki is the one in 10th position. So Macho is now caught up to this. So it's now become a 4-way scrap for 5th.
Yeah, very exciting. 4-way scrap for P5. We of course don't know who will come out in front. The favorite I would say is Macho.
Meanwhile, it looks like a pit indicator for Koenig, it looks like, because it's a red pit indicator on Jackson. So I think Koenig is coming into the pits this lap. Is that scheduled or is that mechanical? Let's have a look. And no, it is scheduled. Koenig is coming into the pits this lap. So the mandatory pits are underway. In fact, Prazan is into the pits now. So the race leader is now into, yep, we're at the mandatory pit stop stage.
Yep, here we go. He gets 4 new tires out. There's a delay on the right front. 8.1 second stop.
And it is now starting to rain again, as you can see. Prazan, is he going to emerge in second place? I think he's got a big enough gap, and the answer to that is yes. He rejoins in second ahead of Carpenter, so no issues there. And he's on the fresher tyres. Oh, Kulasek must have made a mistake going through to the left-hander there. And let's see, as I think he was trying to defend from somebody behind. He's gone a bit too quick, and he's got damage as a direct result. Unless he got the weaving glitch as well, I'm not sure. So, but either way, he's got damage, and he's now going to have to make an impromptu pit stop. Luckily, it's during the mandatory pit stop stage, Dennis, and the pit lane's not too far away.
Yeah, that's one good thing for him, but the bad thing is that the crash happened, so he now has to come back to the pits to get these goddamn damages repaired.
Contact again between Broster and Kwan, but again, they get away with it. They really need to be careful here, Dennis, it's fair to say.
Yep, indeed. Oh, now Macho is up to P6. No, he's attacking Broster.
And that's Kochi Cheong now. He's got a mechanical failure. Kochi Cheong is out of the race with a mechanical failure. What sort of mechanical failure is it? It's a throttle issue.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he didn't make it back to the pits. It seems like he had this problem for a bit for a lap. But yeah, now he's pulling over. Yeah, his race is done.
Kochi Cheong out of the race with a throttle problem, and we're down to 12 runners as a result, as Koenig has just finished his pit stop, as is Kulazek, as meanwhile Paratsky's just got by an Aviard there, so up into 8th place goes the Mercedes driver. So he's now starting to get on the move, as we're obviously in the pit stop stage. Carpenter is coming into the pits this lap. Jackson is staying out for another lap, and so that's that. Carpenter coming into the pits this lap in the DS Cheetah. I did mention it was raining in the pit lane, but it just seems like in some areas it's not raining, but in other sections of the track it is raining. Anyway, Carpenter now into the pits, and there's your example right there. There are rain dots back on the screen, as you can see. The Irishman now then into the pits. There's some more mechanics actually coming out of the pit lane. I wonder if that's for Brandon Jackson. I wonder. So, anyways, Carpenter now then into the pits for DS Cheetah. This is a great camera view, I must say, for Adelaide with that pit lane. So, anyways, Carpenter now then. Currently going through his pit stop now then. It's a 6.8 second stop for the Cheetah mechanics, as his teammate is staying out, of course, for an extra lap. Again, having Broster on the back of him again. Let's see if these two will once again make contact or not, as Macho and Razan behind are currently fighting at this stage. Or is it Aviard? I'm not sure. It's one of the Porsches anyway. As again,
I think here we go.
Oh, not quite contact this time, but there is contact there. Razan's gone for a spin. And, well, that's that really.
He's gone the wall.
But no damage, it seems, as he's waiting for his teammate Razan to filter by, as Paratsky is into the pits.
You mean Aviard?
Paratsky is into the pits, meanwhile. And so, as there is Prazan in the Jaguar. I wonder if Jackson's coming to pits. No, it's not. The set of mechanics were for someone else. I wonder if it was for Paratsky, in fact, as he's rejoined in 10th position, as it is starting to rain again at this part of the track again. So this weather, very, very confusing, Dennis.
Yeah, it's very crazy indeed. It's like a few days ago here at my place where it was raining. It was not raining, like again and again. But yeah, it's very crazy indeed.
Indeed, as Prazan is actually 7.5 seconds behind Jackson, so it just shows how much of a gap he pulled before the mandatory pit stop stage of the race. Prazan really flying in this race. Meanwhile, Broster and Kwan continuing to fight again in their fight for 4th position. Broster looking to the inside for into the second to last corner, not going to work out there, so now he has to go into the final corner there. As they now make their way onto the pit straight, will Broster try and find the way through on Kwan this time by, and make their way onto the pit straight, and I don't think he's close enough on this occasion. I might be wrong. He's getting into the slipstream, but no, he's not close enough, so he's going to have to hang back as a result. And Quan again holds onto that position, but Broster is coming into the pits this lap for Virgin, so Quan will boost some fresh air unless he's pitting this lap. I'm not sure, but anyway, the fresher tyres are working. In fact, Kulizek has now set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 29.629. So Kulizek now holding on to the bonus points for the fastest lap of the race, and Kulizek currently in 9th position after his pit stops. And is Jackson coming in yet? I don't think he is. I don't think so. I'm looking on the mini-map, and no, Jackson's not in the pits yet. No, he's just come out of the final corner. Prazan, with the fresher tyres, definitely getting at the moment. Those old tyres are not working out well for Brandon Jackson at this stage. It's Carpenter just making his way out of the hairpin. His teammate Quan is coming into the pit, so both Quan and Broster will be pitting this lap. So it'll be a case of who's got the higher garage, really, because the garage advantage. Although Broster looking to see if he can pass him before the pit stops into the hairpin, didn't quite work out there. But there will be a battle between Quan and Broster when they come into the pits. 5.6 seconds now the gap between Jackson on the older tyres and Prazan on the newer tyres, as now coming towards the final 3 turns on the racetrack now. Then as they now make their way through the long swooping right-hander, and they'll both peel to the right, and they're now both into the pits. And the question is, who's got the higher garage between the pair of them? That's the question, as Macho stays out for a little bit longer. And the answer to that is, I think, Broster. As according to Yuri, the track is getting wetter again. So Quan has got the lower garage. So if it's anything to go by, Broster should be able to get the jump with him due to garage advantage. But let's see as the mechanics get to work on their cars. As meanwhile, Aviard has just come into the pits for Porsche. So he's now in. And in fact, Quan actually is going to stay ahead of Broster. In fact, he's actually made a much quicker stop than what Broster has, so he's actually going to stay in front. That's a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you, as here comes Razan, who's actually pitting this lap, as he's now just going by on Broster, who's just come out of the pits, and he rejoins just in front of his teammate Kulizek, who has already pitted, I think. Or has he?
Yeah, he of course pitted because of the damage.
Oh, yes, he did. I apologise. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But he's got 22 laps, so he should get him to the end of the race. I was just having a little bit of Ass was playing with me there a little bit. I don't know what was going on, but anyway, as we can see, Prazan coming down the straight and continuing to close the gap on Jackson, as Kulizek trying to put Broster under a bit of pressure. Not going to work out for the moment as they make their way through into the right-hander, as now they make their way down the straight, as Kulizek trying to see if he can get his teammate back. He's also got Parachki breathing down the rear, as you can see on the mirrors there, as they now make their way through into the flat-out right-hander. Is Parachki going to try and make a lunge on the inside? He's having a go on the inside. Broster also having to defend, as Kulizek trying to dive bomb his own teammate. Contact between the two Virgin drivers. Parachki, can he take full advantage? He definitely can. Yes, Parachki saying thank you very much, and I'm taking those 2 places.
It was absolutely amazing from Parachki there. He saw that Virgin teammates were going very close, but yeah, Parachki saw the gap and did go for it. Yeah, that gained him 2 positions.
That did gain a place on Broster, but in doing so, he let Parachki through. Meanwhile, is Jackson coming into the pits? I wonder, because he is on old tyres. The answer to that is yes, he is. Jackson is pitting this lap, so Prazan will have an enormous lead when he comes into the pits there, Dennis. It looks like the spray's coming back again. Yep. Just to hold you there, the spray is back on the racetrack, as you can see. So Yuri was right. The conditions are starting to get worse again. But will we see what we saw earlier on and see them dry out again? That's going to be the question.
And that will be interesting to see, of course.
They now make their way through into the first few turns on the track. Razan is into the pits, meanwhile, for Porsche. So he's now finally in, as Broster trying to get back at Kulizek, who's trying to attack Parachki again. Broster looking to the outside, not going to work out. Kulizek just holds on as a direct result of that, as Parachki doing a good job to hold off the pair of them at the moment. As Jackson is now finally into the pits for BMW, so Prazan will retake the lead as a direct result. But he's now into the pits, is Jackson. Now, I wonder if he's going to change compound, given the fact that the track has got a little bit wetter. We will keep an eye on that and see if Jackson is able to gain on Prazan. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, as Prazan just comes out of the first few turns there, as Jackson is still coming down the pit lane after his pit stop. And as you can see, the spray is starting to spread again at certain parts of the racetrack, but not everywhere. There's still some dry parts, as you can see at the moment on this racetrack. So it is really starting to become a bit of an unknown, really, in terms of how this weather is going to play. And in fact, the clouds are starting to cloud over, as you can see a little bit. So who knows, really?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows, really?
Jackson has rejoined in second place. The top two having a big lead in front of the rest of the field, mainly because they keep tripping up on each other. But Macho now then in the Mercedes has just come into the pits now then in the Mercedes. Let's see what he's going to emerge then after his mandatory pit stop. Kwan is going to filter by as now the two Virgins are now trying to put Prachki under a bit of pressure yet again. Is Macho, is he going to rejoin in front of his teammate? And the answer to that is yes. Macho is going to come out in 5th position and rejoins just behind Nguyen Min Kwan. So he's actually gained quite a lot during this mandatory pit stop stage. As Prazan now they're making his way through into the left-hander there then. Sumi coming up towards the final corner very soon. The gap is 15.1 seconds between Jackson and Prazan, so we will keep an eye on that gap a little bit later on. Prazan just comes out of the final corner now then in the Jaguar as he starts lap 31 of 46, so 16 laps to go here at the Adelaide Street Circuit here in Australia as I look to see what the gap looks like between the pair of them, although the team director is saying no to me on that one. So anyway, right on board with Owen Carpenter now then in the DS Cheetah, currently still sitting in the podium places. The gap down to 14.9 seconds actually between Prazan and Jackson. So whether it's the fresher tyres or whether he's on a different compound, Jackson is starting to gain again on Prazan. So might not be done just yet, Dennis. Depends on how much he gains on him.
Yeah, definitely depends on how much he gains over a lap. Because we have still 16 laps to go. So yeah, let's see how this goes. It looks very exciting indeed.
Indeed, as Carpenter all on his own in 3rd position as he's looking to try and get that podium this time by. Of course, let's not forget, he did originally have a podium back at the Miami Grand Prix, Miami Prix, if I'm not mistaken, but he obviously got taken away after he received a time penalty, and that gave Ross Denholm the podium instead. But so far, trying to keep himself out of trouble and looking to try and see if he can rectify that at the moment here in Adelaide. 3rd and 4th, though, for the two DS Cheetahs. A good day in the office so far for the Chinese team. Broster trying to attack his teammate again into the first corner, keep it tidy, which they do, but Broster not able to get the position, and Koenig could take full advantage here in the BMW. Koenig trying to go around the outside of Broster if he can, but he can't do it, so he has to talk back for the moment, and Aviard could take full advantage, which he does, so over to P9 goes the Englishman, and now it's his turn to give chase to the two Virgin cars in front, as because of their battling, it's allowed Parachki to just get away from the pair of them as a direct result, as we look back now at Jackson to see if he is continuing to close up, as that looks like a dry line again is starting to merge on the racetrack. I think the track is starting to dry again, Dennis. So once again, this weather is playing havoc in this race.
Yep, indeed. It's absolutely chaotic weather, chaotic race. Everything is like a whole chaos.
It actually stayed to 14.9 seconds on that occasion, so I wonder if Prazan is actually starting to respond just that little bit on this occasion, or whether it is because both of them are on different compounds. I am not sure, but anyway, Prazan through the right-hander he goes, using a bit of curb on the outside. The gap between him and Jackson on this occasion, I think it's back up to 15 seconds, it seems, or could it still be around 14.9? Yes, but either way, Jackson's chase on Prazan has kind of halted, Dennis.
Yeah, I think that's really because the difference of the tire compound, and now it's swinging back into Prazan's favor. Yeah, it's not over yet. Let's say it like this.
While the two Virgin drivers are once again going into combat as it is getting drier again down this pit straight as Broster looks to the inside of his own teammate, keep it tidy, which they do just about, but Aviard and Koenig will gain onto them yet again. Aviard looking around the outside, is Koenig going to take advantage yet again? And the answer to that is yes, Koenig back up into 9th, but he could get 8th here from Broster. Oh, nearly close to contact there, but luckily just about avoided it, and Koenig still has to be stuck behind the two Virgin drivers as a direct result. I bet the team boss of Virgin is not very happy with these two battling at the moment.
No, not really. They're definitely, what was the word? Hampering themselves. But yeah, for their sake, it will be better to stay away from each other and just go. Yeah, just stay away from each other.
As you can see, Parachki having a lock-up going through into the hairpin there, pushing a bit too hard to try and catch on to his own teammate, Michael Macho, in front. I wonder if he's on a different compound, if what we're seeing is anything to go by, as Prix now they're making his way through into the left-hander now. Then he will go, as he will now make his way towards the final few turns on the racetrack now. Then let's see what Macho is able to do as we look at Jackson now then, who is continuing to lose time now to Prix, and it's now up to 15.3 seconds as a result. So I do wonder if he is on a different compound or not. Not 100% sure. It's not obviously clear, of course, because all the graphics for the tyres are exactly the same. So it's really hard to tell, really. You have to look really on lap time as it is starting to get drier down towards the hairpin again, as you can see. 15.2 the gap between Jackson and Prazan, as mentioned, as it's 19 seconds between Jackson and Carpenter, as the rain is starting to fall again on the screen, as you can see. So this confusing weather starting to reappear again. I do remember having this quite a few times when I was hosting Formula E, and it seems it's come back even when Yuri's hosting it. So that's pretty much that. As now they come around the first few turns on the racetrack now then, as Prazan continues to build his lead out in front as he looks to try and get his and Jaguar's first victory of the season, as he now goes through into turn 4. Now through into turn 5, just trying to keep the car as tidy as possible now then, as the rain is back on the screen, as you can see. Carpenter currently in third position, as he might start to have the weaving glitch, because I think it's being caused by Choi, if I'm not being mistaken, because Carpenter is already starting to weave as a result. So I do think it might have something to do with Choi, for being totally honest, but I can't really figure out why that is, as I think my
look, he's all over the place. Yeah, that's definitely the weaving glitch again. But yeah, that's not good. But at least Carpenter has quite a big gap. But as we've seen a lot of times, the gap will close a lot when these things happen. Where are you back, Joe? No, he's not here at the moment. And now he's back. So yeah, it's not looking that good for Carpenter at the moment. Yeah, he's... Yeah, you just said it's the same as in the British Grand Prix 2018, if you remember that. If you don't, watch the highlights, because it was absolutely madness. Yeah, Carpenter almost going to the wall. Yeah, that's absolutely... He's losing so much time. It could maybe give the chance to his teammate to close up to him. And also the cars behind, so the battle for the podium is not over yet. I think for Carpenter it would be quite good to just go off the track for a bit, and then maybe it could be solved. But let's see. We have yellow flag on track. What's happened? Carpenter's out! I can't believe it! Carpenter being in third. He's out of race, and his teammate hit the debris. He has damage, I think. Oh, that's disaster for the cheetah. Yeah, Carpenter's out. Of course, that's something to do with the with the weaving glitch. Yeah, go ahead, and he just hit the wall. Yeah, I think Joe has some problems, by the way, but here, oh, that's a huge shame for Guiman Kwan. He now has damage, and that promotes Ennis Paratsky into P3. Also, the rain is increasing a lot. But yeah, that's at least the weaving glitch gone for a bit. Yeah, that's such a shame for both the cheaters here. That could have been 27 points for them. Now it looks like they will only score 1 or 2 points or something. They look at this very close with the Aviard, König, and I think it is Razin behind. This fight is far from over now. Kwan is holding up this pack here. This is the first going by now. Kwan goes into the pits. He will drop down to P10 quite surely. Oh, he is. Now Prix somehow is into the podium places. Yeah, I still think that Joe has some big issues. I hear some sounds. I cannot hear you, Joe. But yeah, this race is absolutely chaotic. I think chaotic is even an understatement, if I'm honest. What would you say, Yui? Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's true. There's here Fazan with that. I don't know if he's extending the gap to Jackson or not. Let's see by the next sectors. Split time. What the gap is. Also, my screen is lagging a bit, but it's okay. The gap is 14.7, so it's quite stable at the moment. CS Razin trying to attack. I think this is his teammate on every yard. There goes. Oh, the team tiny guys, please. Yep, they stayed where they are, P8, P9. But yeah, also one thing, if something happens to one driver, then Sana Joy will be in the points. Like I said early on, that would be absolutely godsmacking. But the bad luck she's had in this race so far. But yeah, at the moment, Barzan is in the lead, Jackson is in second, Bertsky third, Macho fourth. And look at the gap. Bertsky is over a minute behind the top two. This shows how crazy this race is. But
Finally.
Razin. There you are, Joe. What happened to you?
Well, first of all, I got booted off. Secondly, reason I couldn't hear anyone. So I've been trying to fiddle around.
We couldn't hear you.
That was because I couldn't hear anyone. That's because my headphones were playing up. I was trying to see if I could hear anyone, and I couldn't. So it was a bit glitchy, but I heard that somebody retired during all that commotion.
Yeah, Carpenter.
He lost the podium then, so that means that Parachki's on the podium, it seems then.
Yeah, because Kwan, out of all people, hit the wheel of Carpenter.
Ah, okay, fair enough. There's all very close to contact there between the two Porsches, as now we can see that those two are into combat. As you can see, as I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, as it seems that the rain that we saw a little bit earlier on seems to have eased again. So as I talked about a little bit earlier on, it just seems that this weather is just playing silly games. Really, I don't know what sort of game it's playing, but clearly it's on some kind of magic wheel, and it's basically saying rain now, rain, don't rain now, don't rain now, now rain. It's a bit confusing.
Yep, that is true. But yeah, he is still in the battle between the Porsches for P8.
As the Razin trying to see get by an Aviard, Danny inside into the hairpin. Is he going to get the move stick? The answer to that is no. Razin is going to hang back as a result now then, as that was it's weird physics going on there as the blue flags have actually come out. I think the race leader Prazan is quite close to them now then. So that as he'll be starting lap 40 very soon in this race as the two Porsches continue to scrap. But Razin will have to get out of the way quite soon because Prazan will soon be on his rear very soon, and so they now come around the final turn. Will he try and find a way through an Aviard now then down this pit straight? As right behind, Prazan has just started lap 40 of 46. Razan trying to look to the inside as nearly quite close to contact between the two Porsches. Can Razan make the move stick? The answer to that is no, as he will now have to give way to Aji Prazan, which he does do, so I think, or no, he hasn't, in fact, he hasn't obliged yet to blue flags, but surely he's got to now, as he's now lost a little bit of time to Leighton Aviard as a direct result, as now Prazan going to lap Razan through into turn number 5 there, as Prazan now finally able to get the move done, although I would not be surprised if there are any finger gestures being thrown at Razan's way from his fellow compatriot there, because I don't think Prazan will be too happy about the fact that he got a little bit held up there by his fellow compatriot. Kwan now starting to gain onto the pair of them now then, as the two Mercedes have taken, as you mentioned, full advantage of the whole commotion that happened there, and as a result, Prachki now onto the podium, Macho in 4th, and we talked about how Audi had a massive lead in the Teams Championship. Well, this is definitely going to help them close him up.
Yeah, indeed. It would have been better. Wait. Let me rephrase that. How it turned out for Mercedes, absolutely crazy. They were in the outskirts of the points in the beginning of the race, and now they are both in P3 and P4 would score 27 points. And it's just crazy.
That would mean, because the gap was 99 points going into this, the gap would be reduced, if I do my maths correctly, to 72 points.
Yep.
22 points. So that was how much the gap will be cut down between Audi and Mercedes, as Jackson looking quite lonely in second place now. He's 10.3 seconds behind Aji Prazan. And so as Parachki making his way down the hill now then, as he's got a 4.5 second cushion between himself and teammate Macho. You can just about see there in the background as he's got one of the Virgin cars, in fact, starting to close him down. I'm not sure which Virgin racing car that is he's starting to close him. It's either Broster or Kulizek that's going to start to close on him quite soon in the fight for 4th position, as in fact Macho has actually reduced the gap to 4.2 seconds between himself and Parachki on that occasion, as I think, if I'm not mistaken, Prazan's not far away from lapping those two. So we could see a situation where only the top two are going to be on the lead lap. So it'd be interesting to see, although we have got 5 and a bit laps to go. So might be a bit tight, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, that would be absolutely ridiculous. But also would show the fact that how clean the race for Prazan and also for Jackson was. And here's Prazan trying to lap the second Porsche, I think.
Already lapped Razin. It seems he's having trouble trying to lap Aviard now. It seems the Porsche's a bit of a nightmare for Prazan, it seems, but it looks like he's finally going to lap Aviard as a result, as we've got 5 laps to go in this race, as now Razin is going to start to get back onto the gearbox of his own teammate as a direct result. They make their way through the first few turns on the racetrack now, then through into turn 3, as Aviard going a bit defensive there, as Razan now then looking to the outside of Aviard. Can he get the move done? In fact, Kwan's also in this fight. Keep it tidy, keep it tidy, as Kwan takes full advantage and gets Aviard there. Can he get a hold of Razan? No, he can't. Aviard trying to get back on the inside of Kwan there, through into the left-hander there, but it's not going to work out, I don't think, as Kwan's still on the inside. They're still going to go side by side through into the right-hander, but Aviard holds on to 9th position as a result. And, that's pretty much that. As now Jackson is now coming up to lap these guys. And in fact, because of the fact that Prazan got held up, Jackson has actually gained a little bit on Prazan as a direct result.
Yeah, but I don't think it will be enough, because also Jackson has to lap these guys in a bit. I think there was already. So yeah, that's, I think, the answer for the race win has been answered, or has been given.
Indeed,
because I don't think anything will happen.
As we now look at Kwan, who's now trying to put Aviard under a bit of pressure now then as they make their way through into the left-hander now then before approaching the final few turns on the racetrack now then. Can he get the move done? Let's see. No, he can't. He's going to wait until maybe the pit straight to see if he can try and get by an Aviard in this fight. Position is now come out of the final turn and onto the pit straight we go as we now look at Enis Parachki now then in the Mercedes, who've got a 4.4 second cushion over Michael Macho. Meanwhile, here comes Nguyen Minh Quan trying to look on the inside of Aviard. Not going to work out as he comes out of the first few turns, but he'll have to give way to Jackson, who's trying to lap him quite soon, although he doesn't do on this occasion, a bit similar to what Razan did and a little bit earlier on. So we've got 4 laps to go here at the Adelaide street circuit now then, as Jackson making his way through in turn 5 there, and then into turn 6 he will go before approaching turn 7 quite soon on the racetrack now then, as he now makes his way through into the right-hander now then, using a bit of curb on the outside as he makes his way down the hill, and he's still not been able to lap the pair of them. I do wonder if it's got something to do with we talked about if Jackson was possibly on a different compound to Prazan. I wonder if it might have something to do with that or what. But either way, he's not really gaining as a direct result of that. As meanwhile, Prazan, who's continuing to pull away now as a result of being held up by some traffic, is going to be starting lap 44, 46 quite soon, and has got this pretty much under control at the moment if things go his way. But we've seen so many times in this race that doesn't always go according to plan.
Yep, indeed.
We now look at Parachi now then. 3 laps to go for Aji Prazan in the Jaguar now then, as Macho just trying to keep within touching distance, as it looks like the 2 Envision Virgin Racing cars are soon going to be going into combat for battle for 5th once again. So it seems that the Virgin Racing cars are once again fighting each other on the racetrack as they now make their way towards the long swooping right-hander. As here is Aji Prazan now then, who will be soon starting his penultimate lap quite soon once he gets around these parts of the racetrack now. You can just see how dominant he's been. A 66-second lead ahead of third place Parachki. No wonder he's close to lapping him. Meanwhile, here come the 2 Virgin Racing cars again. Broster on the inside of Kulazek, and that's the move done. Broster up into 5th position there and not wasting any time. Can he now try and close up onto Michael Macho and try and get 4th place out of this race?
Yeah, let's see. Macho, I think he's not the fastest driver out because of maybe the tires. But I think Broster still can get him.
While Quan attacking Aviard in their fight for 9th position, not able to get the move done as a direct result now then, as they now make their way through into the final few turns on the racetrack now then, through into the left-hander we go. And now coming towards the final few turns on the racetrack now then, there's Quan trying to find a way through on Aviard, that was. I had to think there for a moment. As Prazan, meanwhile, has started the penultimate lap of the race here at Adelaide, and I do wonder, given all the chaos we've seen today, whether we'll see this track after this season. I would not be surprised if he gets booted off for next season. There's contact between Quan and Aviard, and Quan has gone around. And, well, any chance he had of 9th position has gone down the toilet, and he'll now have to settle for 10th place, given that Chui is a lap down. But, yeah, maybe a bit too ambitious there, Dennis.
Yeah, he tried everything to reclaim at least a few points, but yeah, he has to settle for 10th, which is at least 1 point, but he will be bitterly disappointed because fourth place was on the cards for him until his teammate retired.
Maybe seeing red after all of this. Probably seeing red after all of that kicked off, really. So anyway, as we ride on board now with, I believe this is Leighton Aviard we're riding on board with, as he's now probably going to just cruise now to finish in 9th position now that collision between him and Quan has just happened. As he now comes around into the hairpin, there is Parachki now then, who's still got to come to a gap in front of Macho, but I think he's got Broster breathing down his neck quite soon, I think, although I think there's still a bit of a gap between them. Through into that first corner, yeah, Macho is still got a bit of a gap. It looked a little bit deceiving from that camera angle. I thought Broster was a little bit closer to Macho, but clearly not. As meanwhile, Prazan has started the final lap of the race here at Adelaide. And what can be said about his race, really? He just looked like it was it just the perfect race for him, really. He just showed so much pace compared to Jackson. We honestly thought that Jackson was probably going to win this race, but after the chaos that happened in front with Andrioli, Tilsley, and even Koenig, he took full advantage and went up into second, and he just was able to close that gap massively on Brandon Jackson, so much so that he was able to cruise past into the lead through that flat-out right-hander, and he has not looked back. And given the season that Jaguars had this season, this is going to be this is going to be relief for this British team. It is looking good for Jaguar to get their first victory of the season after so much inconsistency in races. Prazan looking like he's going to get this win, and a fully deserved one, you'd have to say, Dennis, even with all the chaos around.
Yeah, indeed, that would of course be Prazan's first win in GP4 since the 2018 Cordoba Prix. So that's how long he has to wait for a win.
3 years he's waited, but it looks like that wait is going to be over, and Jaguar finally going to get a victory this season after what has been a tricky season for the British team, as he now makes his way towards the final few turns for the 46th and final time through into the second to last corner, and now into the final corner he comes for the 46th and final time. It's been a brilliant and dominant race for the Indonesian driver, and Aji Prazan is going to win the Adelaide Prix here in Australia. A dominant display from Aji Prazan, and well done to him indeed. Razan crosses the line in 8th position. Leighton Aviard is just going to get 9th position in the end, as Brandon Jackson will cross the line in 2nd place, as he will gain massively on both Ionescu and Andrioli in the championship. Quan will take the final points place in 10th, what might have been for the Vietnamese driver there. Sana Choi will cross the line in 11th. It looks like Parachki might have had the weaving glitch as a result, because that was him in the background there. I think Parachki might have just had the weaving glitch. There he is in the background. Where is Macho? That's what I want to know. And Choi now, I think she's coming on the hairpin, as she will be finishing in 11th position. But Parachki has got the weaving glitch, but I think he is going to hold on to 3rd, because I think there's just not enough space for Macho to try and get by or take full advantage, as he's just making his way through into the final few turns of the racetrack. There is Macho.
There he comes.
He is closing up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Let's see. Parachki now then coming towards. He's going to hook the inside, and he is going to hold on to 3rd position. I think there is Macho, in fact, just coming out of the turn, and I think he is going to hold on to 3rd, or is he? And the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
He does hold on to 3rd. Macho
close
in 4th, Gross to 5th, Kulizek in 6th, with Koenig, who's just going to cross the line in 7th position in the end there. Then to Koenig will cross the line in P number 7. There he goes. That's P7 for him, and that's the race over there then. So Prazan takes the victory, fully deserved for the Indonesian driver, and finally Jaguar get a victory in 2021 after what has been a tricky season for them in terms of consistency. But here is the final results then. Prazan wins the race from Jackson in 2nd, Parachki in 3rd, with Macho 4th, Proster in 5th, then it is Kulizek 6th, Koenig 7th, with Razin in 8th, Aviard in 9th, then Quan completes the points in 10th, with Trey the final finisher in 11th, and you can read out the retirements, Dennis.
Yeah, Owen Carpenter with the crash. Kokti Cheong had the throttle problem. Kok Chun Cheong crashed. Robert Ionescu had that oil leak. And the rest of the retirements are crashes, which are Dominic De Jelly, Jaswan Kuma, Jakob Tobola, Ross Sandholm, Rafael Dumel, Santino Andreoli, and Jake Tilsley. And also, Brandon Jackson is now 2nd in the standings.
I will double check that, but we believe he's got 2nd. As Kulizek does get the bonus points for the fastest lap of the race, so he adds on he adds 2 points to the number of points he got today for finishing in 6th position. Well, there you have it then. That has been it from the Adelaide Prix. I'm not sure if we're going to see this track again after this season, given all the chaos that we've seen today. So don't be surprised if it's off the calendar for 2022. But until then, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Of course, we're not done with live streams just yet, because coming up at 7 p.m. BST, we of course have the Formula 2 qualifying session from the Dijon-Prenou circuit for their French Grand Prix. So do look forward to that indeed. Of course, we've got top class action this week as well from the Korea International Circuit in Yeongnam for the Korean Grand Prix. So do look forward to that. But until then, that's been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. The next Formula E race will be in 2 weeks' time at the popular Fuji Speedway circuit for the Hamamatsu E-Prix. Of course, next week, of course, we have the World Champ Car race over at the Nürburgring, so do look forward to that. But until then, that's been it. Hope you enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Dennis Graff, and we'll see you next time.